name is Nangamso Njongi. Originally, I'm from the Eastern Cape, and I studied in fashion design, P Technicon at the time, and I moved to Cape Town in 2003, with the sole purpose of looking for work. At the time, I think my passion was to be a buyer, because I didn't feel like I had a confidence in creating my own things. So I thought, you know what, let me just, I think that is one of the things that I was interested in dressing, South African women and see what I can bring for them. But it was mostly about what was already there, and just making it suitable for the South African market. I never really thought about being a fashion designer that much, because, but I always had a passion because I saw my granny. My granny was a seamstress. My mother's mother, she was a seamstress, and I was interested in it, but it was not really, something that I would say I was very passionate about, and until at some point when I think it grew, and I think the part about being an artist was more alive than the part about actually sitting down and making a garment. Both my parents, in their own way, they were artists, but they never worked as artists or anything. My dad was great in drawing and all that, and my mom as well. But they had other jobs. My mom is a nurse, and my dad was in the marketing and agriculture. So they never really, I guess with the way that they grew up, they had to have a proper career, and hence I wasn't really into it that much. My first experience was I went to a technical college because I hadn't applied anyway. I was doing my first year in at varsity, and my aunt could see that I was really, my heart was not in it. I mean, I actually failed my first year at varsity because my heart was really not in it. But I wanted to major in psychology and English, because I saw that, okay, fine, this fashion thing is not working. They don't really want me to do this, so I'm not in it. I'm not seeing myself growing it as yet. So I thought, well, maybe let me just do psychology and English, because it was really another passion of mine. But then my aunt said to my parents, you know what, just let her do what she wants to do, because you can see that even when she comes home, what she does is sit and draw pictures. And that's what she does, and I'll show them that this is what I've done. So they wanted, my aunt wanted to cultivate that. So she spoke to my parents about it, and they agreed to it. They said, it's fine, let's just let her do what she wants to do. I mean, we can see that she's really passionate about this. I went, after finishing at a technical college, my dad said it's fine, that I can go to a technicon and study there. I unfortunately passed away, so I couldn't go then. Then I had to wait for 2 years before I could go. But the moment I went there, I excelled. I discovered things about me that I never thought were there. When I finished my studies, I said, okay, fine, let me do something. I wanted to do something as well, and instead of like something like put back into the community, but it wasn't time yet. So I had to come to Cape Town to look for work, because in the Eastern Cape the fashion side is really not strong. So I had to come to a big city, like every other person has to come to a big city to try and see what they can cultivate. But when I got here, I couldn't find work. I was struggling because I didn't have any experience. And even when you want a trainee by a position, they still require some sort of experience. And so I struggled. But then an opportunity came for me to do my 4th year. So I went and studied Cape Tech, and I was there for a year. I studied. And I was blessed afterwards that I got a job at Foschini as assistant designer there for the Donna Clay side. And I worked there my contract was for 9 months. So I worked there for 9 months, and then afterwards I was still, I was struggling with getting a job. And I even applied there to be a trainee buyer. And when the results came, they basically sat down with me and said, you know what, you really are not supposed to be a buyer. You know, you're way too creative to be a buyer. You need to focus on the fashion side of being a designer, not really being a buyer, because this side that you're so, pulling yourself towards is not really working for you. I struggled to find work. I mean, I think I'm still, other than me launching my label, I'm still not working as a fashion designer. And so I had to find work in other ways, and I spent a year, more than a year, without finding employment, which was really, something. So I had to find ways to support myself. So I went back home. I was home for 6 months. But at that time, I was working on a business plan. That's what I was doing. I was working on what is it that I need to do? How can I make this a success? All the ideas and everything. I put everything down on paper, and I was putting all the ideas down and everything that that I was dreaming that I can do. And this dream was becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was sat down in prayer, and I said, Lord, this is too big for me. I don't know where I'm going to start. I don't know how I'm going to start with this, But the passion was there. I think that the part of me, having my own label was growing and was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I couldn't ignore it. The launch came and it was a success, and there's a lot that I need to do. I have to change my strategy quite a bit now. People love my stuff, but the thing is, one of the biggest problems that I'm facing right now, well, it's two, is the financing for me to make it, go through, and another one is the fabrics that I need to work with, because I personally love natural fabrics. And with the dress that Joe is wearing right now is made from 100% wool, and that's what I like. I love working with natural fabrics because they really are good. They've got good quality behind them, so they've got longevity. And another thing is they really are. You know what you can expect from them, and they sit very well with your skin, and they don't. If you've got a problem with a certain fabric that maybe some people have problem with wool, you know that you can't use it because you know exactly what to get from it. And but I love natural fabrics. I love wool. I love silk. I love linen, and I love cotton because those are really very strong fabrics that are really quite good. I think for me, I'm more into. At one point, I was speaking to a friend of mine who I was trying to get all these ideas because she was a client of mine and a friend of mine while I was doing my 4th year, because she was the first person I've ever made a wedding gown for. So, and there's been other garments as well that I've made for her since then. But I was asking her, how can she, being with me for a long time, she's known me since 2004, how can she, define my style? And she said it's freshly elegant, which I think when I sat down and when she said that, I'm like, wow, that's really what that's really what I'm all about. But I think I was able to capture that and understand who I am, which I think in many cases it was probably the reason why I was taking so long for me to do this, because I wasn't sure as to who I am, so I had to find out about myself, and then to gain the confidence in doing what I need to do. For the market that I'm aiming for, I'm aiming for women that are looking into dressing themselves differently. I don't make clothes because you're making clothes. Make clothes because you have to look good, and it's not just a dress that has to look good. You have to look good in that dress as well. Be active, be proactive in making sure that you have inside of you is nurtured. It is grown, and you have to take, what steps do you need to take in order to make it happen. If you have to, study stuff that you're not really, passionate about, if it's going to take you somewhere where you will get the exposure that you need, do it. As long as it's in line with what you understand your bigger dreams, and you have to you're taking all the smaller steps into getting there, And I feel that that is the most important thing, is that you have to really nurture that and make sure that you're doing everything possible good for you, not just anything. You have to, you have to do things the right way, without really compromising your values and all of that. And I feel like it's really, those are the things that you need to do as a human being to make sure that you're succeeding.